Alec Murdaugh was convicted of the brutal execution-style murders of his wife and son. It was a trial watched by the nation. The story of a lawyer from a rich, prominent family in the low country of South Carolina who broke bad, stole from his clients, stole from his friends, and stole from his law partners. Then, when it looked like his financial crimes would be uncovered, he murdered his family in a play for sympathy and to divert attention away from his other crimes. Murdaugh has appealed his convictions because of the conduct of the controversial clerk of courts, Becky Hill. And now prosecutors have responded. Does Murdaugh have a chance? Tonight, we will break it down. But first,
you know, your story is just so unbelievable. Everything you say and has continued to say has been a lie. Your life's a lie. The evidence shows.
Sir, I believe I've lied to you for years.
You continue to lie.
Nick Kassotis was a Navy JAG, a trained prosecutor. After divorcing his first wife, he was hit with a $1.5 million judgment. Then Nick and his second wife, Mindi, went on the run. But what were they running from? Was it the seven-figure judgment, or was someone out to do them harm? Well, Mindi ended up murdered and dismembered, but prosecutors say it was Nick who did it, and the defense is pointing the finger elsewhere. Where is the truth in this case? Where are the lies? Tonight, we take a look at Nick Kassotis' interrogation video and his reaction in court as prosecutors get ready to wrap up their case. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And this trial, wow, what a doozy. What a doozy of a defendant, Nick Kassotis. This guy, he's a JAG, okay? Which is a trained attorney who practices in the military, like Tom Cruise. Can you handle the truth? One of those guys, right? It's an intense position. You need to be smart, and you understand the law. You understand your rights. You also understand the Constitution. So Nick Kassotis, being a JAG, knows that he has the right to remain silent. But that's something that Nick Kassotis can't do. He can't remain silent. It's unreal. He tells his story or his stories to everyone who will listen. In his police interview, he just can't stop talking. And he's holding on to his story, whatever those stories are. You know, he's not going to bend, he's not going to break. But like, it gets to a point where some of the stories just seem to me a little far-fetched, a little ridiculous, bordering on absolute absurdity. So the question I have tonight is, will this guy, will he convict himself with what he has said? What he said in his interrogation and what he may say on the witness stand. I mean, I could see him wanting to take the witness stand and tell his story directly to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. But the jury got to see his police interrogation, and like him, it's a doozy, an absolute doozy. So I want to play a nice piece of it so you understand the flavor for the back and forth and what this accused murderer is telling police. Let's watch.
Remember the whole Tom Sawyer story?
I'm not sure. I do say.
I always tell the truth. It's easier to keep up with than lie. You kept up with a lot of lies, a lot of stories. None of them are turned out to be true. I gave you 2 hours in Pennsylvania. We went through everyone. And I've been through every one of them, and the evidence that Barbara shows that you're continuing to lie and tell the story.
Sir, I'm not going to.
Nick, you are lying. And now's the time to stop living all this. Here's the deal. There's a reason that Mindi died.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know.
You know very well that reason, because you killed her.
I did not.
The big question is why.
Sir, I would never have killed Mindi. I woke up in the morning and I took care of her. I rubbed her back, I rubbed her leg.
And she wasn't pregnant.
Is she? Sir, she was due in January.
Well, she was not pregnant. She was not pregnant.
No, she was pregnant.
Even the times that y'all were saying that she was pregnant, she was not pregnant. She was not pregnant at the time of her death.
So she was.
She was not. As a medical certainty, she was not pregnant. Why did you kill Mindi?
Sir, I didn't kill Mindi.
You killed Mindi.
I did not.
All the evidence shows that you killed Mindi, and will continue to show. It's kind of like a 1,000-piece puzzle. You burned some of the pieces. You've thrown some of the pieces away. We'll never have all the pieces. It's very clear. You made that absolutely sure we won't have the pieces. But we've got enough to see a very clear picture and to show that picture to a jury. And that jury is going to conclude one thing, the same thing I'm telling you. You killed Mindi, no doubt.
When you placed her body out there, you did us some favors. Where you placed it, it preserved some things. You weren't expecting her to be found so quickly.
Sir, I never saw her after she died. I never hurt Mindi. None of this feels random to me. But I don't understand it. But I know where that knife is.
Okay. So now let's move on. The knife has nothing to do with anything. The day that you bought the knife and traveled down the road, where did you go?
I left, I stopped for gas. I stopped at Home Depot. I believe I stopped and talked to Jim.
With Mindy's body in the car.
No, sir. No, sir. I removed the things from the back of the car, and I don't know.
Where were the things left? You said you removed them from the car in his house. Where were they left? Like just on the ground?
Yeah, he said he would take care of them.
Okay. How close to the house?
30, 40 feet.
There is no house, remember.
So I stopped at a house.
You may have stopped at the house, but when you took the containers out, there is no house.
There's a reason why that keeps sticking in your head. You said Pennsylvania, you took them out, you falsely said I set them in the dirt. I set them in the dirt. That gray and black container. And it wasn't your personal property that was in those containers, it was Mindi.
No, sir. I packed those containers myself. It was her laptop.
You did pack them yourself. If your wife's dismembered body,
Sir, that's not true.
that is true. And you had them in your car when you drove down that dirt road.
Sir, that's not true.
That is what you placed in the dirt, 30 or 40 feet off the roadway.
Sir, that is not true.
That is absolutely true, Nick.
Exactly what the records show.
Okay, just so you understand, it's the same guy on both sides of your screen. on one side of your screen over here, that's him during the trial watching himself being interrogated. It looks much different, but it's the same guy. All right, let's get some analysis of this interview. I'm joined by body language expert, trial consultant, Susan Constantine. She's also the president of the Human Behavior Lab. Susan, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Nice to see you too.
I want to get your take on two pieces of this, him in court and him being interrogated, but let's do it one at a time. Let's start with him being interrogated. What are you seeing and hearing from Nick Kassotis there?
Well, there is so much stuff to unpack here. There's a lot going on. First of all, he's in high cognitive alert. So that's when he's very still. You'll see him listening and concentrating, no movement. And then you don't see him when he's explaining what he's saying occurred. There's no rolling gestures. You know, he has these persuasive gestures where he's kind of battening down. Those are, you know, I kind of look at this as that's what a prosecutor would do when they're trying to make a point, right? The other thing is he has digital reflection. In other words, it's going inward versus outward. This is often seen when somebody is withholding information, restraining information. He also has a tic, a spasm that occurs in his brow bone. Also with eyelid shutters, the tic And the spasm is called from really high levels of stress. It's kind of like when your eyelid would trickle because of stress. So that is a spasm caused by stress. I'd like to see if he does that on a regular basis to see if that is something that's neurological. But it appears to be that it hammers down at specific moments of where the intensity starts to increase. So there's a lot of stuff controlling the narrative. He is detached. He doesn't really talk about or admit that there's something that happened to his wife. He just completely just disregards it. And he denies and denies and denies, but yet his head just kind of bobbles around. It's not a firm yes or no. It just kind of starts and then it kind of bobbles around. All this stuff is cognitive load. There's multiple areas. I mean, I could list them. Oh my gosh, Vinnie, so many of them. It's just ongoing. It just never ends.
Yeah. Now
he's lying.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time his lips are moving. Now, we saw the split screen, right? It's the same guy on the other side of the screen watching himself. He's obviously looks a lot different. The hair is cleaned up. He's lost a little bit of weight. He's got glasses. What did you see from him in the courtroom as this interview was being played? Was he giving us anything?
Well, what we're seeing right here is a facial expression of sadness, right? So when you see the corner of his mouth coming down, but this is really more self-pouting. You can see the chin boss kind of pop in. You're watching his eyes blinking. All of that is that if I were to time it, I would have to compare that to when there were certain areas where he's hearing something really intense to see if it would flutter that was incriminating. But it seems to be kind of an ongoing rhythm. So I'm going to say that's going to be pretty much his baseline. When he raises his eyebrows and blinks, those are questioning, like I'm not so sure about that or whatever. So that eyebrow flash is giving you an idea that he's thinking inside that he may be disagreeing with or he's surprised by it. But this bottom lip popping up and causing the chin boss is a faux expression of sadness. It's not real because the sadness is only seen there. It's not seen in his eyes. So the fact that he's doing that is a faux expression of sadness and self-pity.
Susan Constantine, appreciate it. He may very well take the witness stand, so you may be getting a call tomorrow or the next day as well. We'll see his live performance in court. Susan, thank you so much. Always great insight.
Nice to see you, Vinnie.
All right, folks, let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft joining us live from Hinesville, Georgia, where all this is taking place. What a big day watching all of that. Maintaining his story to police, to friends and family. Did investigators ever ask him why?
Hey there, Vinnie. Yes, they did. And really kind of how they led up to it, they were saying to him in a way to try to get him to open up more. A lot of people read a lot of stories. A lot of people watch a lot of movies. Maybe this is what's happening in your life. But no, he's really not taking the bait. They said, why? You've lied to so many people. You've lied to your friends. You've lied to your family. Why? And what is his response? What does he say continually? I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. I never killed Mindi. Why don't we go ahead and listen to a bit more of his police interrogation?
Your world of lies, we have picked it apart. We picked it apart before we came to Pennsylvania. But since it got out, there's even been more people that called, more people that have more stories that you've spun off of this. I get that you're scared. Everybody I talk to, this is not who you are. They don't think you're a monster, but they don't believe your story. Whatever it was that made you snap, whether it was you just had to get out, you didn't want to tell her you wanted to leave, you didn't want to accept that she wasn't pregnant, or you were scared and terrified that now you had this new relationship that was up and budding and you didn't want to continue.
This is somebody I never met.
And now you're married. After you tell your former in-laws, after you tell them, you fabricate a message and send it to them and tell them that you died in a car wreck.
I did not do that.
You did do.
I did not do that.
You did do that.
Vinnie, you continually hear him say, I did not do that. He maintains that everything he was doing because of the man named Jim McIntyre.
Oh, Jimmy McIntyre. Yeah, he's a tough one, Jimmy Mac. Can you tell us about some of the other witnesses today? This was extremely important, but who else did they put on the stand today?
Yeah, this one was the biggest thing today, but then we also heard from a tool expert who was just talking about some of the evidence the state has presented, in particular that Milwaukee hunting knife, as well as the deer processing kit. And really, Vinnie, the big thing for defense counsel here is there's no DNA evidence tying him to the crime. And so, of course, always on cross-examination, that's something that defense counsel is pointing out. We also did hear from someone from the FBI, a cell phone analyst, who was really reviewing a map and showing the different places where, for instance, Mindi's torso was found, her right leg was found, her left leg was found, her head, the skull was found, and kind of showing a map as to where his cell phone was pinging. And he always seemed to have an answer, this was during the police interrogation video, as to why his cell phone might have been pinging in those areas. And he was saying, because I was told to go to those areas and bring Mindi's belongings. But why don't we go ahead and listen to the cell phone analyst talking about, his analysis of his electronics.
Were you asked specifically to look at that time frame for a particular reason?
I was, and you'll see on the right-hand side again is a snippet of a receipt on November 29th of 2022 at 8:56 a.m., a purchase of something, I don't know.
Okay. And that purchase and that date and time was what caused you to look for the activity of the data sessions. God bless you.
Bless you.
For that date and time?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. And that activity put that vehicle and the device in the vicinity of what?
Of the Home Depot, starting at 8:54 and ending at around 9 o'clock. Those last two interactions.
What is your opinion as to the vicinity of the Ford 2022 Ford with respect to 10:21 a.m. to 11:54 a.m. on November 29th of 2022?
Yeah, during the time periods listed on the left, which were those time periods, you'll see the dominant coverage area, which is the most likely location of this device, i.e. the Ford, during those time periods.
So the prosecution, Vinnie, was saying that the defendant turned off his cell phone during the time period of 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that's when they contend that he was dumping Mindi's body.
Okay, so where are we in the case right now?
Vinnie, the case is moving a lot quicker than anticipated. The prosecution is expecting to rest its case in chief tomorrow. They have 4 witnesses left, one of whom is going to be a friend or a former friend of the defendant, Nicholas Kassotis. So it's going to be interesting to hear what he has to talk about. We're hearing that it's possible he's going to be testifying to some information regarding borrowing money or the defendant borrowing money from him, but we'll have to see exactly what he has to say. And then we will find out if defense counsel decides to present a case, and of course, if the defendant takes the stand himself, Vinnie.
I have a feeling he's going to. I just have a feeling this is a guy who needs to tell his story to everyone who will listen. Kelly Craft down in Georgia, thank you so much. All right, folks, when we come back, we will bring in our think tank. They are locked and loaded. Monday night special, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, chilling new images and surveillance video from the Idaho student murders pull back the curtain on a night of unspeakable horror. How important were these haunting visuals for convicting the accused killer? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
A woman's remains found scattered throughout a 3-mile area.
Now, a former naval officer stands trial accused of killing his wife.
The dismembered wife murder trial. Live coverage weekdays, 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Your story is just so unbelievable. Everything you say and has continued to say has been a lie. Your life's a lie. The evidence shows.
Sir, I believe I've had attitude for years, and I don't understand why.
You continue to lie.
Investigators not buying it. You know, the stories are incredibly far-fetched, right? But he is sticking to his guns, I guess, Nicholas Kassotis, that I'm not lying. Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Take a look at this part of the interview. This could be perhaps one of the most absurd.
Except for one occasion where you met this dude on the side of the road in Montgomery, Alabama, and you had to get $5,000.
Yeah, I didn't have checks for that account.
So you just randomly, at that point, meet with him, don't know who he is, where he was, where he's from.
No, he contacted me and said that he had Mindy's remains. I was really upset.
Okay. You know how like elaborately crazy that is? Just to meet somebody on the side of the road with remains.
Yes, sir. I was really upset about it.
That's never been heard of before.
I was upset about that. I was upset about the fact that she had been cremated. I was told she had been cremated.
We know you were upset. We know you were upset. We found her body in the condition we found it in. We know you were mad.
Sir, I never hurt my wife.
Yes, you did.
I've never put a hand on a woman. I did not hurt Mindy.
But you lie. And you lie a lot about a lot of things. And have continuously lied.
Sir, I've been told to lie in certain situations to keep us safe.
A man says, meet me on the side of the road. I'm going to give you your wife's remains. What? Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Also with us, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. All right, Al, what are your thoughts of this police interview?
Well, first, I just want to thank legal because we were able to deal with the new tariff situation concerning the U.S. import known as Darnell. Said he's on today, so I'm very happy to see that.
Yes,
and
he is out of the
secondly,
country, but
he has,
we've imported his intellect tonight.
Well, that's right, and the tariff was only 8 cents, so it was well worth it. The situation with regards to this interview, this interrogation, phenomenal job. These guys were unbelievable with regards to how they were able to just humiliate this man constantly, and then they would always throw in, and then you killed your wife, or he would throw it, and your wife's body was in the car. And so they were very subtle with the way they kept putting that in there and putting him on his guard and giving him the opportunity to dig himself deeper and deeper into a ditch. So a phenomenal interrogation. It was like watching Andy Griffith go forward on it. They was just so calm, so cool, so collected. It was an incredible experience watching it.
Darnell, have you ever seen a character quite like this, Nick Kassotis?
Yes, Bill Clinton. So when Bill Clinton said, I didn't have sex with that woman, period, Monica Lewinsky, it reminded me when he said, I never hurt my wife. She was dead before I started chopping her up. So he's answering questions that he wants to answer in his own head. So he doesn't really follow what the police are saying. So he's like, he just keeps repeating, I never hurt my wife. I didn't kill my wife. And he's like interviewing himself in the middle of the other interview. So he's very, very, very keen on how he was answering questions. But it's not believable, but he thought it was.
Jennifer, he's pointing the finger at a man named Jim McIntyre. I want to play a little piece of the interview where Jimmy Mac's name comes up. Let's take a listen.
The 45 minutes that you spent there at one location with the tubs and the knife, your DNA.
Sir, I did not hurt my wife.
Did you dispose of her?
No, sir.
You did?
No, sir.
And all the evidence is showing that.
Sir,
and your elaborate 2 hours of story that you gave in Pennsylvania, you know how many items, you've been an attorney, you should realize how many of those can be disproven.
Sir, I have not lied to you at all.
You've been living the web of lies for a long time.
No, sir.
Between your finances, between Jim McIntyre, all these people, the Microsoft stuff.
I think Jim has lied to me for a long time. I do believe that.
I don't believe Jim exists.
Sir Jim absolutely exists. I don't know if that's his real name, but he absolutely exists.
So, Jennifer, the key to the defendant's case is Jim McIntyre, but ironically, I guess, Jim McIntyre, he believes, is lying to him.
Yeah, well, he also doesn't know Jim McIntyre, if it's really Jim McIntyre or somebody else. He's saying that it could be somebody else. He doesn't even know if it's the right person. It's the name that he has, but he doesn't know if that's his real name. And where is Jim McIntyre anyway? It seems like nobody can find him. The police are saying he doesn't even exist. But, I mean, I'll give him credit. I think he held up pretty well during this interview. I think you could tell he's an attorney. He's very measured by the way he answers, and he sticks to his story. They're really trying to break him, but they're not able to do so. So I disagree with Darnell and Al. I think he's holding up pretty well. I mean, it's not really believable what he's saying, but despite them keep going after him and saying, correcting him and contradicting what he's saying, he's sticking to his story the whole time.
Vinnie, I would object to Jennifer not agreeing with me, but since she's Madam Chair of the family bar, I can't object anymore.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Jennifer. A great appointment.
Yes.
Al, so
yes.
What if there is a Jim McIntyre?
Well, Vin, he's going to have to take the stand, meaning, we're going to have Kassotis take the stand, and I know exactly what he's going to say. He's going to say, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Long Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. And that'll be his testimony, and he'll get that up there, and that's the whole thing.
Darnell, how do you think it'll go? Because I agree with Al. I think he's going to testify.
I do. I think he looks like two different people. So literally, like, I wouldn't hire the guy in the interrogation room as my lawyer, but I would hire this guy. This guy looks, dashing, quite frankly. And as the behavior expert says, the bottom of his face goes down in a frown, but his eyes are like ready to go. So it's like he's speaking to us in this way, and he's calculating how he's going to win the case on his own. So his lawyers are just props. You could tell that guy says, "I got this." You see it in his face.
Yeah, he's been doing it, I guess, his whole life, whatever this world. And think about this, Jennifer. He has convinced people, like his in-laws. He told this story about how their daughter died, and they believed him. He's been he convinced Mindi to go on the run with him for whatever reason. So it seems like he's had some success with his stories, and to me that means he believes he might be able to convince the 12 jurors.
100%, Vinnie. I mean, this guy is a pretty well-educated guy, and so he's the type that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He can outthink everybody, outcalculate everybody, and like you said, he's been pretty successful thus far. So I have no doubt that he's going to testify and think that he can win over the jurors. Even looking at him, he cleaned up his act. He looks like a totally different person. He looks like a respectable lawyer and someone that, he thinks at least that the jury is going to believe that a guy like this, who looks like this, is not somebody who's going to chop up his wife, So I fully expect that he's going to be testifying.
So do you believe, Al, that he's someone that could garner some level of emotion about what happened to Mindi? Mindi was his wife, like murdered and chopped up. And to me, is it possible that the jury sees some side of this guy that we haven't seen before, or are we going to see the same guy who we see in the interrogation room?
Well, the interrogation guy, he kept saying, I'm very upset, or you got to understand I'm upset. And he didn't necessarily look too upset. So when he gets on the stand, whether or not he's going to turn on the waterworks is, yet to be seen. But he's got, he's a con artist, and he has been conning people all his life. I mean, he's been successful at it. I mean, he has a $1.5 million judgment against him from his first wife, which you've got to be pretty successful to get a $1.5 million verdict, judgment against you. But if you see him, obviously in that pose, I'm going to say that the jury's going to have a hard time separating the two, because in the interrogation thing, he just looks like a troll. And the fact that he's hunched over and that he's looking down, he's not looking at anybody, I think they're going to have a hard time seeing him spit and polish and not revert back to when he was in the interrogation.
Darnell, I still don't understand the motive in all of this. I'm still not following that. But what I do follow is this guy is bizarre. So to me, it's like, I don't even know if there is a reason that even in his mind, I just think he's potentially so far out there that anything is possible, especially not wanting to get into another divorce.
Yeah, it's like the Murdaugh case. I mean, if the idea was that Murdaugh, that he killed his family to take the attention off for what he was going through financially or his drug addict habits or whatever, and then maybe it was money. You had a lot to play with in the Murdaugh matter. In this matter, I don't see it. I mean, you got away with murder once. Now you're on the run. You can't run from a judgment because it stays on the books. So what are you running from? And why are you killing? So it's very bizarre. I can't make it out.
Strange case. We will continue our coverage, though. Think Tank staying with us. When we come back, we're going to take you back to the low country of South Carolina. Alec Murdaugh. Big news today in the appeal. There's some papers filed today. Is it possible that Alec Murdaugh will get a new trial?
Did your comments, or were your comments in any way phrased in favor of one side or against another side, or were they more of a neutral comment about paying attention?
No, it was not for one side or the other.
During the course of the deliberations, once the jury went back there, did you have any contact with the juries or have any substantive discussion with them?
Not at all.
It's Becky Hill, the controversial court clerk down in the Low Country for the Alec Murdaugh trial. She is really a big part of the defense's appellate argument as to why Alec Murdaugh deserves a new trial, because of what she allegedly said and what she allegedly did. Take a listen here. This is Juror Z talking about the impact of Becky Hill on that juror.
Did you hear Ms. Becky Hill make any comment about this case before your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
If yes, what did Ms. Hill say?
To watch his actions.
To watch his actions? What else?
To watch him closely.
To watch him closely. Anything else you remember?
There it is, but I can't remember.
Okay, that's fine. Was your verdict on March the 2nd, 2023 in any way influenced in any way with any communications by the clerk of court, Becky Hill, in this case?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
All right. Was your verdict influenced in any way by the communications of the clerk of court in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And how was it influenced?
To me, it felt like she made it seem like he was already guilty.
All right. And I understand that. That's the tenor of the remarks she made. Did that affect your finding of guilty in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's, again, a big part of Alec Murdaugh's argument for a new trial, the influence of Becky Hill on that juror and the jury in general. So the state took some extra time to respond to all of this and take a look at really the argument they're making about Becky Hill and the jury. The jury convicted appellant because he was obviously guilty, not because 3 jurors heard Becky Hill's foolish and fleeting comments about his upcoming testimony. Is it that simple? Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch III, Darnell Crossland, and Jennifer Brandt. Jennifer Brandt, what are your thoughts? Should these arguments about the influence of Becky Hill just be dismissed as foolish and fleeting comments that really did not influence this jury?
Well, I think we can agree that they were foolish and fleeting comments, and there seemed to be a lot of evidence weighing against Alex Murdaugh. So the problem that you have, though, is that you heard the judge interrogating the juror and asking her, you know, did that influence you, or did these comments influence you? And she said yes. So I think that is a problem. It's unfortunate because of the amount of time that was spent on this trial and all the evidence and all that everyone went through for this trial. It would be crazy to have to do it all over again. But
yeah.
I mean, you did hear the juror say that she was influenced by these comments.
Darnell, you know, we cover trials around the country. There's this sanctity of the jury. They can't have any of this influence or impact. And here, it's allegedly coming from the court clerk herself. What are your thoughts? Could this be a basis for a new trial?
100%. So let me be very, very clear. This case and any other case is never about the defendant. It's about the integrity of the system. And that judge, like many other judges, if I was a defense attorney, I would have been sitting there so angry hearing this judge try to rehabilitate this individual, veneer person, or this juror. She said I was influenced. Well, setting that aside, she kept going, and a lot of jurors would have cracked and be like, okay, I guess this judge is trying to influence me now to say, no, he influenced you, but he didn't influence me. But this person held their ground, and they said, yes, I was influenced. So this is about the integrity of the system, and you cannot have anything outside of what the evidence says speak to this jury. And when this jury said that it made her feel as though the man was guilty, that's it. That's it. New trial. Forget the money. Forget the time we spent. It's about the integrity of the system. New trial.
Al, what are your thoughts here? Because when a court rules, it becomes somewhat precedent for other cases down the road, which may not be Alec Murdaugh.
Well, this was a very bizarre scenario. I mean, we got to remember that this woman, wrote a book. Okay, so she had a motive with regards to how she was speaking with the jurors, because finding him guilty was basically the thesis of her book. And so she was profiting off of that. I have to agree, believe it or not, with Darnell that the system there has to be integrity in the system. And there is no integrity if somebody is going in there from the court clerk's position and saying anything about the guilt or innocence of the individual or making any comments whatsoever. They're supposed to be 100% neutral and just a facilitator to bring in and out and make sure what their lunch menu is and make sure that they have water if they need it and things along those lines, and have phone numbers in case they're late. Okay? That's what the job was. This woman took it upon herself to make money by writing a book, and if he had been found not guilty, no one would have been buying this book. Now, the book is no longer available. I mean, I was fortunate enough to get a copy
that makes
of
your
it,
book more valuable, Al. That just makes it more valuable.
Vin, you took the words right out of my mouth, okay? And so under the circumstances, the whole system would be destroyed if this guy does not get another trial. He deserves it.
Right now, everyone is scaring the viewers at home. Like, Jennifer Brandt, okay, we could say the sanctity of the jury, but practically, do you think the folks down in South Carolina who have to make this decision, the judges, the justices. Do you think that they will give Alec Murdaugh a new trial, or do you think that they'll figure out a way to not give him a new trial?
Vinnie, I honestly think they're going to try everything they can not to give him a new trial just because of the time, money, effort, security, just all that went on, all the hoopla that went on around this trial. I think they would do anything not to give him another trial. But, I mean, Al and Darnell do bring up valid points. You know, how do you get around it? And does it set precedent for future court clerks who, you know, talk about the defendants? I mean, I don't know. I think it's a real tough one. So, you know, they may have to err on preserving the sanctity of the system and giving him a new trial, because that seems to be the right result, given what that juror said.
Yeah. I mean, the evidence was, to me, overwhelming. So will Darnell, the court, take that into consideration and say, well, even if she didn't say it, they still would have found her guilty?
No, because then the court is now the 13th juror. You can't. You have to have it be beyond pale. And I'm still worrying. I think the profits of her book might have been turned over, but I'm still wondering whether ethically there's any punishment for the clerk who's causing all of this expense, if we do have to get one. I think if the appellate court down there tries to find a way not to give him a new trial, this is definitely will be sent to the Supreme Court, and I think cert will be granted because it's so important. And it wasn't somebody from the outside; it was the actual court itself. So I think they will get certiorari straight to the Supreme Court.
That's the twist in all of this, right? It wasn't like, in the Karen Reed trial, they did so much to protect the jury from the public and the people wearing pink and the signs. And in this case, they did the same thing. They protected the jury from people that were there. We didn't have that kind of crowd, but it was someone from the court itself. All right, big thank you, Al Wunsch III, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt, great as always. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, for the first time, prosecutors are revealing disturbing photos and video evidence from the Idaho 4 case. Images that freeze in time the terror of that November night. How important was this evidence? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
Terrible. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The Matriarch Mastermind Murder Trial, August 19th, only on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Take a look. Reed United. That is correct. Prosecutors have been given permission to return Karen Reed's SUV and her cell phone. They made the motion for it. This is her property. Yeah, it was an alleged murder weapon, but she was found not guilty. So she'll get the SUV back. She'll get her cell phone back, and we'll keep an eye on what's taking place in the civil action as that continues to proceed. Please take a look at your television screens. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. This is Jeremiah King Bennett. Jeremiah missing from Tucson, Arizona, just 15 years old, and he may be in need of medical attention. So if you see Jeremiah, please pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the South Tucson Police Department in Arizona. That number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we get Jeremiah to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.